The City of Gun Barrel City will meet in a regular meeting in City Hall Council Chambers located at 1716 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, on Tuesday, January the 23rd, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. I'd like everyone to rise for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the privilege of living another day. Thank you for all these people. Thank you for everyone that gives so much of their time and their efforts to this fine city. Please give us wisdom, discernment, and give us the ability to do always what shines in your light and what's best for our town. Make sure that we always keep safe our first responders, our military throughout the world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight we have citizens' comments. They are limited to... That's exactly right. We'll do our roll call. I'm sorry. From my left.
Burns here.
Jacobs here.
Key here.
Walsh here.
We have a quorum. I apologize for that. Moving on, we are now at citizens' comments, limited to 3 minutes. Purpose of this item is to allow citizens an opportunity to address the city council on items that are listed on the agenda or issues that are not listed on the agenda. Any person desiring to make a public comment must first sign in at the podium at least 10 minutes prior to the start of the meeting and be recognized by the presiding officer. Individual citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes. The presiding officer may ask the citizen to hold their comment on an agenda item until that agenda item is discussed, and the city council has no obligation to respond in any manner to comments or questions from the public. Any response from a member of the city council to non-agenda comments is limited to a statement of specific factual information, a recitation of existing policy, or direction to staff for follow-up. Our first gentleman tonight is Kerry Kirksmith. Kerry, if you come to the podium, please.
Thank you. Good evening, y'all. Kerry Kirksmith, 332 Overlook, Gun Barrel. Just bringing it to you again regarding Oil Pan Island out there, wondering if you can give us any update, what's going to be done or when's it going to be done to mitigate the road hazard there. And also, have you given any consideration or is it on the agenda to work to get some traffic signals at Maybell and Gun Barrel Lane and Municipal and Main Street for the first responders and everybody else to get out of that municipal complex, but obviously primarily the first responders. Thank you for attention to this. Any good news?
We shouldn't actually respond to citizen comments, but I will update you that I have not heard a date from TxDOT. TxDOT has a plan to remove it, but we do not meet the necessary requirements to have a red light at either of those intersections. I did speak.
So that won't happen then?
It won't now. They will continue. They know it is a concern of ours, but they were scheduling someone. They're taking out a number of the crosswalks they put in, and so it's on their schedule, but they said it could be 90 days to 120 days before it came out, and right now we do not meet the warrants to install a traffic light. So. But
the installation of that crosswalk is being addressed, and there's something will happen with that?
It is scheduled to be taken out, but I do not have a date. They did not have a date yet. They assured me as soon as they got one, they would let me know.
Appreciate that, Dr. Angie.
It wasn't me. It was council before I got here. I just made the phone call.
Thank you, Mr. Kirksmith. Our next person to speak for citizens' comments is Sandra Henley.
Good evening. Sandra Henley at 121 Grande Lane in Gun Barrel City. Has the mayor or any council member been advised that I applied to the city to be considered for an independent grant writer position? I met with Ms. Smith on January 4th. After our meeting, she said she would discuss my proposal with the team. I have not received a response, so out of professional courtesy, I request that the decision to reject my proposal be submitted to me in writing and define the reason for my rejection. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward, our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to consider approving the following reports?
So move.
Do I have a second? Can I have a vote now from my left?
Burns, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
E, yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 2, we will convene into an executive session pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 551.074, dealing with personal matters, to deliberate a severance agreement associated with the dismissal of the former EDC Executive Director, Robin Sikora, and deliberate an appointment of a police chief. Let the record show that we are convening to that executive session at 6:35. Let the record show that we are reconvening at 6:48 from our executive session. We will discuss and or take action to approve a severance agreement with former EDC Executive Director Robin Sikora. Dr. Smith will speak on this.
Per direction provided by City Council, the city attorney was able to negotiate a severance agreement that included 6 months severance pay and accrued vacation time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any discussion? Council? A motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the severance agreement with former EDC Executive Director Robin Sikora.
Second.
We have a second. Have a vote from my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Plus, yes.
Motion passes. 3B, we will now have the swearing in of our police chief at this time. Dr. Smith?
Council, I would like to request City Council join me in recognizing our interim police chief, Keith Stevens, as the new Gun Barrel City Police Chief. Chief Stevens will be sworn in by Judge Grace Wallace. But first, a little about our new chief. Keith Stevens originally came to Gun Barrel City in December 1994 and was with us until 2002. After time in Kaufman County as constable, almost 20 years later, Keith came back to serve the residents of GBC in 2021. He was promoted to captain in August of 2022 and became the interim police chief in April of 2023. Keith has experience in many positions in law enforcement and holds a master peace officer license, certified as a T. Cole mental health officer, sexual assault, family violence investigator, court security specialist, and certified special weapons and tactics. Over the last 9 months in his role as interim chief, Keith has gone above and beyond to help get our animal control back on track, work with his team to schedule updates and renovations for the station, and put together 30, 60, and 90-degree plans, as well as long-term plans for the future of the Gun Barrel City Police Department. It's been an honor to work with Keith since October when I came on board. I'm happy to recognize him as the next chief of this amazing city. He has big plans, folks. He's married to Nikki Tanksley Stevens, and they have 3 daughters and 1 son who all graduated from Maybank and Kemp High School. I will now invite up Judge Wallace and Keith Stevens. Following the swearing in by Judge Wallace, I would like to give the new chief an opportunity to say a few words.
This, here, this is special, so if you'll put one hand in your mouth.
Other right.
State your name.
I, Keith Stevens,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that
that I have not,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
paid,
paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed, or promised to contribute
any
any money
or thing of value,
or
or promised
any public office
or employment
or
for the giving
or withholding
or withholding
of a vote
of a vote
at the election
at the election
at which I was elected,
at which I was elected,
or
or
as reward
as reward
to secure my appointment,
to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be.
whichever the case may be.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Keith Stevens,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties of the office
execute the duties of the office
of Gun Barrel City Police Chief
of Gun Barrel City Police Chief
of the state of Texas
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the
the
Constitution
Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God. Thank you.
Either get the microphone from Janet or go to the microphone if you want to pace.
First thing I want to do is say thank you to my wife for putting up with me. Been kind of tough. It's been a long road coming back. I swore that I would always retire from here when I left here the first time. I came back as a reserve. I accomplished that. Had no plans of moving up and going any further. When I came back to help them get staffed. Remembered how much I loved this town. And I can promise you, as long as I'm in this office, we will be thriving every day to make this the best department, to make everybody here proud to be a part of this city. Again, I want to thank city manager and city council for everything y'all do, the support that y'all gave us this last budget with the renovations and stuff that are fixing to happen. I want to thank my staff. Couldn't have been here without you. I appreciate you.
Congratulations again, Chief. You may want to stick around for the next one. 3C, discuss and/or take action to receive an annual report as required by the Senate Bill 1074 in regards to racial profiling. Dr. Smith, would you like?
I believe Mr. Stevens is also going to do this, or Captain Pena? Report?
Yeah. Y'all have a copy of the report?
Do you need a copy?
I actually been a little bit going on today.
You don't have a voice, I got it. Okay. So your new police chief is going to do this.
Okay, this is a racial profiling report for 2023. It's related to traffic stops, and I had mine highlighted and walked out the door without it, so bear with me so I can look through this real quick. Total traffic stops for 2023 was 2,355. It breaks down what county roads or state roads or highways that it was. We had city streets, there were 778 stops, highway 32, county roads 20. Race and ethnicity known prior to the stops were none. There were no complaints related to any of these stops. Searches were conducted on 36 of those. Contraband was discovered in 19 of those. Finding from the results of the arrest, there were 11 arrests made from that out of the narcotic arrests. I'm sorry, 16 due to drugs, 2 due to alcohol related, and 1 due to other. And out of that, there were no complaints on racial profiling that were reported to the office. Any questions on any of that?
Discussion, council? Questions for staff?
It'll be a little more detailed on the next report.
It's okay. Thank you, Chief. Motion to approve this report?
I move that we take action to receive the annual report as required by Senate Bill 1074 in regards to racial profiling.
Key second.
We have a second. Vote from my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Lost, yes.
Report passes. Thank you very much. Again, Steve, congratulations. 3D, discuss and/or take action to issue a request for proposals on RFP for administrative and plan development services for the Community Development Block Grant Mitigation, CDBG-MIT Resilient Communities Program, which is a grant program administered by the Texas General Land Office. Dr. Smith, would you like to speak to this? I think, is John from GrantWorks here?
John from GrantWorks is here if you have questions. Gun Barrel City has been provided the opportunity to apply for a grant to expand and update our comprehensive plan. Included in your packet was information about the Resilient Community Program. We are being assisted in this process by John McElfish and the team at GrantWorks. There is no charge or no match required from Gun Barrel City. So that team is doing the work for us, and if we get the grant, then we get the award, and their fees come out of the administrative fees associated directly with the grant, so there's no charge to us to attempt to get this grant. John is here. Wave, John. If you have any questions, he can come up to the podium and answer those. Otherwise, I would ask that council approve this request.
Discussion, council? Questions? No. I make a motion that we approve the request for proposals for the Administrative Plan Development Services for the Community Development Block Grant, Resilient Communities Program, grant program that's administered by the Texas General Land Office. Do I have a motion?
I move that we take action to issue a request for proposals for administration and plan development services for the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Second.
Have a second. Vote from my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
False, yes.
Proposal passes. 3E, discuss and/or take action to contract with Innovative Animal Management, IAM, in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for animal control consultant services. Dr. Smith, could you speak on this again, too?
I can. Gun Barrel City has been challenged over the last few years with an extensive need for animal services. Really, post-COVID communities have been challenged as a whole across the country. One of the goals of the City Council was to set our animal services team up for success, and in order to do that, we need help from an outside expert. This contract will allow us to partner with Asher Moore, who is in the audience this evening, to do direct officer staff training, develop ordinances for Gun Barrel City, find the best software to manage the 6 kennels we currently have, and services we are currently providing, and set up policies and procedures for our day-to-day services in animal control. You met Asher right before the meeting. Asher has a number of years. He is a certified animal control officer. He has served as the manager of a Metroplex shelter. He has years of experience. I have worked with Asher before and can do one-on-one training with our police chief and our animal control officer to strengthen our program and help them develop policies and procedures to take us to the next level. Again, staff recommends that you approve this contract. Asher is here if anybody has any questions, and he's already kind of doing research and meeting with our tool shelter to start getting us set up for success.
Asher, would you like to speak at all? Well, council, if you have any questions or discussion for Asher.
Would you fill us in on the duration of the contract?
I believe the contract is about 90 days. There's 3 phases. It's currently paid out in 3 phases. One is at the beginning. The second is at the development of the ordinances, and finally at the development of all of the policies. So we're kind of set up for about 90 to 120 days now. He will work very closely with our new police chief to make sure we have the software we need and everything, so.
Sir, I move that we take action to contract with Innovative Animal Management in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for animal control consultant services.
I have a motion.
Burns,
Second.
second.
We have a second. So we will vote from my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
False, yes.
Proposal passes. Thank you, Asher. I appreciate all your help. This is a desperate need for this town. I'm sure everyone would agree. We're honored to have you. 3F, discuss and/or take action to ratify a certificate of deposit renewal letter of interest with Prosperity Bank from a 12-month term at 2.9% to a 22-month term at 4.25%. Again, I will acquiesce to Dr. Smith.
Council may remember a month or so ago, we had a CD expire at Prosperity, and staff renewed at a better rate for a short term. This is much the same. Our CD at Prosperity was set to expire in January. After review, staff provided the go-ahead to renew for a 22-month period at the 4.25%. We're simply asking council to ratify that renewal at this meeting. We have also confirmed there will be no more surprises or ratifications necessary. There are only 2 certificates of deposit, and we will be sure in the future to review these prior to their expiration date.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the certificate of deposit renewal letter of interest with Prosperity Bank from a 12-month term at 2.9% to a 22-month term at 4.25%.
Key second.
And we have a second, so we'll take a vote from my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Motion passes. On to 3G, please. Discuss and/or take action to accept the recommended topographical or clerical changes to the city charter as was presented by the Charter Review Committee. I know Dr. Smith's been working hand in hand with them. I'll have her speak on that also.
As the Charter Review Commission reviewed the charter to make recommendations to council on proposed amendments, they found a number of typographical clerical errors that needed to be made. Council has had the opportunity to review those changes at our last meeting, which included commas, missing words, the flow of sentences. As you make amendments to the charter, this happens. Words get left and changed out, and Verna was a member of the commission. She's also an editor. She went through the entire charter from cover to cover and helped us make those changes. Council received one of those prior to our workshop we had earlier in the month. These changes do not in any way change the intent or context of any item called out in the charter. They are simply typos that happen through many years of charter amendments. Staff recommends council approve these changes in the charter.
I make a move that we accept the recommendation to address the typographical clerical changes to the city charter as presented by the Charter Review Committee.
Key second.
Have a second. Can I have a vote, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Passes. Moving to 3H, to discuss and/or take action to adopt the ordinance number 02024-005. This ordinance is an ordinance adjusting the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas boundary limits by disannexing land from the city's corporate limits, providing a severability clause and an effective date. Dr. Smith?
I apologize to council, there was not a picture included in the packet. We should have included a picture on this one so it was very clear. This is a small tract of land right at the Gun Barrel City limits along 198. I'm horrible at directions. It's the same side of the road that Tractor Supply is on. So whatever direction that is, that's the side of the road it's on. Gun Barrel City was approached by a developer to release land from the ETJ and release a very small piece of property along 198 at the GBC city limits. By Texas state law, anytime a request comes forth to release ETJ, we are required to take action and allow them to do so. This was a unique situation in that there was also a small piece of property that wasn't just ETJ, but it was also within our city limits. By small, roughly 40 foot wide and maybe 100 to 120 foot long. So not wide enough or big enough to do any type of standalone commercial real estate to contribute to our tax base. Tonight, releasing the ETJ is item 3.1, and releasing the property within the city limits is item 3H. After much conversation, staff's recommendation is for City Council to approve this ordinance tonight. Unfortunately, there is just no justified use of this property for Gun Barrel City over the long haul. It's not large enough to do anything with that would benefit the city outside of it being a small piece of property in our land. So staff recommends council approve both ordinance 02024-005 and 006. Happy to answer questions.
Council, any questions or discussion for staff? Everyone's good. I will ask for a motion.
I move that we take action to adopt an ordinance number 02024-005 and 02024-006.
Key second.
Janet, do they have to be, I think they have to be acted on two separate
Separately?
motions. I saw two heads pop.
I could amend that then to just for 024-005.
Second.
We have a second. Can I have a vote, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. 3I, to discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number 02024-004, releasing land from the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city. Again, Dr. Smith will speak on this. This is ordinance number 02024-004, an ordinance of the city of Gun Barrel City, Texas, releasing land from an extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city, providing findings of fact, containing a severability clause, an effective date, and other matters related thereto.
This is the ETJ. This is the release of the ETJ, and we are required by law to release that when someone asks.
Discussion or questions? Motion?
I move that we adopt ordinance number 02024-004, releasing land from the extraterritorial jurisdiction of Gun Barrel City.
We have a second. Can I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. 3J on our item tonight is discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number 02024-006, amending sections 34-02, 34-03, 156-121, and 156-135 of the Gun Barrel City Code of Ordinances, amending terms of board members. This ordinance is an ordinance by the City Council for the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas, amending these sections 3402, 3403, 156-121, and 156-135 of the Gun Barrel City Code of Ordinances, providing a severability clause, providing a repealer clause, and providing an effective date. Dr. Smith?
One more time. Gun Barrel
One more
City, Gun Barrel City has had a challenge with recruiting volunteers to serve on boards and commissions. Each board or commission has a different start date throughout the year. One way to combat this challenge is to centralize all start dates for our board and commission volunteers. This ordinance centralizes the start dates to October 1st. Moving forward, recruiting for volunteers for board positions will begin on April the 1st with a posting to call for volunteers. We can then accept applications. We can then interview during August and September. Members will be appointed at the September City Council meeting, and then we'll start their new roles on all boards, Parks and Rec, Planning and Zoning, BOA, and any other boards we have, EDC, any other boards we have going forward on October 1, which will make central timing for staff to do orientations, make sure everybody's getting their training under their belt. It'll just make it a lot easier for all of our volunteers to remember. One of the problems we have is some boards start in July, some start in January, and so we're constantly posting that we're calling for volunteers, and we see some of that tonight when we have a lot of appointments up, right? So that would be staff's recommendation is to approve this resolution or ordinance to get them all reset.
Makes sense to me.
We have a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number O-2024-006, amending sections 34.02, 34.03, 156.121, and 156.135 of the Gun Barrel City Code of Ordinances, amending the terms of the board members.
Second.
We have a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. Now moving to planning and zoning. 4A, we are going to open a public hearing on request plat track 16, abstract 59, according to the J.P. Brown survey belonging to Mark and Vonnie, physically located at 570 Levy, Gun Barrel City, Texas, into 11 lots, lots 1 through 11. If you will open the public hearing, please, Dr. Smith.
Open the public hearing.
Is someone here to speak on that behalf? Okay, if none is taken, then we will move on. Close the public hearing. 4B, discuss and/or take action on a request to plat Tract 16, Abstract 59, according to the J.P. Brown survey belonging to Mark and Vonnie, physically located at 570 Levy, Gun Barrel City, Texas, into 11 lots, lots 1 through 11. Brooke, would you like to speak on this, please?
Hello, we received this application on December 18th of last year. The applicant was Mitchell Gunter, and the property owner is Mark Invani. He's right here with us today. I sent notices on December 22nd, and then it was also sent to the paper on December 22nd. It was posted in the paper on January 4th, and the P&Z had a meeting on January 8th, and they made recommendation to the city council for approval, and now it is placed on your guys' agenda tonight. So this is just the 200-foot boundary of the property that is being platted. This is just to give you guys an idea of who we're sending letters to, so just for informational purposes. Okay, this is the survey of the property. I want you to note that they are only platting a portion of this lot. So the picture before showed a bigger lot. This is just the top portion of that lot, or that lot. And if you'll notice that there isn't any setbacks on this property, and the reason why is because if you want to show the next slide, I'm going to kind of show you where this is at based off of Highway 334 so you can kind of understand. Our ETJ only runs 330 feet from the center. Our city limits only run 330 feet from the center of Highway 334 in that area, and then our ETJ extends a mile after that. So only, and if you want to go to the next one, only a portion of his property is within the ETJ, but the plat is what he's wanting to plat is entirely in the ETJ. So he has to come to us for approval. We can't put any zoning requirements on it though, so that is why there's no setbacks on the survey. Kind of a roundabout way to answer that question. The reason why we are responsible for that is because we're in an interlocal agreement with the county to approve plats in our ETJ. If you have any questions, and also the property owner is here as well, if you have any questions for him.
Discussion or questions, council?
Could we hear from the owner about the plans for this property?
Good evening, Mark and Bonnie, 570 Levy Drive. Happy to answer any specific questions, so wanted to thank you for your consideration. We did have a fairly robust conversation about a couple of weeks ago, January 8th, with the Planning and Zoning Council and Committee, and we responded to the research we've done, the consultation that we have done for the best use of this land. We believe the demographics very much support this proposal. And again, be happy to respond to any specific questions that you may have.
Will this be single-family residential, or what are your?
Correct. There'll be, and let me just, if I may, we wanted to be in full cooperation and collaboration with the council. So this is the phase one. The total lot, as Ms. Atkinson referred to it, is about 50 acres. We plan to put 1 acre lots for single-family residential homes, high-end homes, and we're only going to consume or use about 37 lots on the 50 acres and allow the other remaining 13 acres for public usage, parks, green areas, community gardens. It's again, will be a high-end type neighborhood.
So on the previous slide where it showed the piece of property and there was a black stripe at the top, the black stripe is the first phase.
Correct. If you'd imagine a 50-acre lot and the very top 13 acres is carved out right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nvani. Any further discussion, council? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we replat Tract 16, Abstract 19, according to the J.P. Brown survey belonging to Mark Ivani, physically loaded at 570 Levy, Gun Barrel City, Texas, into 11 lots, Lot 1 through 11.
Second.
We have a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Foster, yes.
Request granted. Moving on, number 5, in bids. On 5A, we will discuss and/or take action to award bids for the 2024 street materials. Dr. Smith, if you could speak on this, please.
The bid tabulation for the street materials is attached to the packet for review of City Council. Staff conducted a closed bid process for these purchases, and the highlighted amounts are the vendors we will be using for each service. We received 6 bids for supplies, about 10 different supplies, materials we use on our roads. Staff recommends council award bids as outlined in the bid tabulation.
Discussion for staff, council.
I move that we take action to award bids for the 2024 street materials.
Second.
We have a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Foster, yes.
Motion passes. Moving to 5B, discuss and/or take action to award bid for sales tax compliance review services. Again, Dr. Smith.
The bid tabulation for the sales tax compliance review services is attached as well. Staff also conducted a closed bid process for this purchase, and only one vendor supplied a bid for this service. The current vendor, the vendor that supplied the bid is our current vendor, Avenue. Staff has no issues working with this vendor and has recommended that you approve the award.
Any questions or discussion for staff?
So does this go out for bids every year, or what is it? Or do you know?
I will defer to our city treasurer. Every 3 years, or the fingers she held up. Mickey Rainey, folks, for those of you that don't recognize her.
Any further discussion, council? Motion?
I'll make a motion to award bid for sales tax compliance review services.
Burns, second.
We have a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Foster, yes.
Motion passes. We now get to number 6, which is in our agenda, is board interviews and appointments. I want to make very clear we have one opening in this particular section, and it'll be 6A, and we will discuss and/or take action to interview an applicant for the park board in open session and consider appointing. Is Foster Brady here? Yes. Foster, would you like to speak for a moment? You don't have to if you don't want to, but you can come to the podium if you'd like.
My name is Foster Brady. I moved down to the area about 3 years ago. Moved into Gun Barrel City 2 years ago. I'm just looking to get more involved with the city.
Any questions or?
What are you excited about being involved with the park board?
I think some of the parks that we have in Gun Barrel are the best the city has to offer. I mean, for stuff around here, especially free stuff, we got some awesome parks, great dog park. I utilized it a bunch when I first moved here. I didn't have a yard for my dog, and I was always going over there. I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to get into it more.
Anything further from Mr. Brady?
I would just like to add that Foster is at every chamber breakfast. He's involved in the community. He's not just a pretty face.
We appreciate your application, Foster. Any further questions for Foster or any comments? Do I have a motion now to accept his application?
I make a motion to approve the Park Board application for Foster Brady.
Second.
I have a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Boss, yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Brady. You're a part of a great group. There's a lot coming up, too. Our next one, we have 3 openings on this board, and this will be 6B. This will be discuss and/or take action to interview applicants for the Board of Adjustment in open session and consider making appointments. Linda Tracy is our first applicant. Linda, are you here? Linda is not here. Our next applicant is Jim Sikora. Jim, there's Jim.
Hey, guys. Great to be here tonight. I've been on Board of Adjustment now for a term. It's a tricky board to be on because we don't meet that often. So you kind of, there is a bit of a learning curve. There's a few things that you have to kind of pick up. And it seems like it would be good to just continue on. Like I said, we don't have tons of meetings, and that's probably a good thing. That means there's not that much contention over some of the regulations and things for building code and things like that. So I'm totally willing to serve another term if you guys would like me to. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Mr. Sikora? Council?
The chair of that committee now is,
I believe that's Marty, right? Unless something changed.
It is Marty. Mullins.
Marty Mullins, yes.
Further questions?
thank you. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Sikora.
Mayor, there are 2 openings on this board, just a heads up. Linda is not here tonight.
3.
There are 3 openings on this board. I'm seeing fingers again over the wall. There are 3 openings on this board, and Linda has been on this board before, so although she's not here tonight, she is aware of her application, and she has participated on this board in the past.
Great. Seeing as how we have 3 openings and 2,
So if anybody's interested,
yes, applicants, do I have a motion to accept these applicants?
I make the motion that we accept the applicants for Linda Tracy and Jim Sikora for the Board of Adjustments.
Second.
We have a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Boss, yes.
Congratulations to both of you, Mr. Sikora and Ms. Tracy. Everyone that volunteers. There's a lot of work to be done. 6C, we have 1 opening with 2 applicants. So we will discuss and/or take action to interview applicants for the Planning and Zoning Commission in open session and consider making appointments. This will go in order of the way we received the applications. So our first applicant, if she would like to speak, Ms. Mullins, would you like to speak?
Thank you. I have served on the Planning and Zoning Commission several times before, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions, discussion, council? Ms. Mullins? Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next applicant is Michael Wilmoth. Michael, are you here? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Dr. Smith. My name is Michael Wilmoth. I've lived in Gun Barrel City proper since 1995 and own a business here since 1999. I have a nickname, Wilmo, that I'll answer to, that I got hung with in high school, and it stuck. And I want to, first of all, discuss my application. I was a little bit of a hurry that day when I came to fill out my application. I didn't answer some questions that I needed to answer in hindsight. First of all, Gun Barrel City, in my mind, is not really rural, but, and I can't see in the future, but I believe in having an open mind on all projects. What's good for the city and citizens, any developers that might be involved, is good for everyone. We don't need any solar farming or Bitcoin miners. The EDC and the P&Z could work together to select types of businesses we want to attract, find channels to attract these businesses. Anyone we choose to work with needs to be vetted thoroughly. I own a piece of property on Harbor Point Road, and I had a front row seat for the Heritage Cove development, which didn't go all that great. I just like to bring fresh ideas with an open mind, so as to be a beneficial member of the Planning and Zoning. Questions?
Questions for Michael? Anybody? Discussion?
I did have one. Let's see.
Can you tell me what a produce broker does?
I'm a produce distributor broker. Basically, I buy from the farmers, and the shippers arrange transportation, and it gets delivered to its destination, which would be warehouses, food service, grocery companies, things like that.
Wonderful.
Part of the food chain.
Awesome.
Further questions, anyone?
Just, have you been involved with observing the meetings of the Board of Adjustment?
Planning and Zoning.
I'm sorry, Planning and Zoning. Have you been?
No, I'm a newbie. I'll be right up front. I'm a newbie, but I'm ready to learn and be a beneficial member.
I'm delighted to see businessmen come forward that are willing to serve on these boards. The pay's not too great, but we need fresh ideas, and we need people who've been in business here and they know the growth of the city and what makes it go. And I think it's very important that we have these kind of people on our boards and commissions, and I want to publicly thank you for being willing to step forward with this.
Well, I hope I'll be an acceptable candidate.
Thank you.
I'm ready to work.
Are you willing to learn about P&Z and all the laws, and
I'm sorry?
are you willing to learn the steps necessary for P&Z and do your own research?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whatever I need to do, I'll do.
Okay.
Any further questions? Michael, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Michael Wilmoth to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
We have a motion for Michael Wilmoth.
Burns, second.
Have a second. Vote for my left.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Keno.
Foster, yes.
Appointment passes. Congratulations, Mr. Wilmoth. We are now moving on to number 7 in our agenda packet. Will be 7A, discuss and/or take action to approve an interlocal agreement with Henderson County to conduct the city's May 4th, 2024 election. Dr. Smith, if you'll speak on this, please.
I will. This is the first of several election ordinances that we will need to adopt. The first one is an interlocal agreement. Janet will pop up if I don't say this right. An interlocal agreement with Henderson County to actually conduct the election. There is a potential in the agreement that it could cost us less if Maybank chooses to participate in this. We just do not know if that is going to be the case yet. So it could go down, but it will not go up. So this is just the interlocal agreement with Henderson County to hold the election.
Questions or discussion for staff?
And we've been working with them on an agreement for the, to conduct the election for a few years.
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Further discussion, council? I'll move. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve an interlocal agreement with Henderson County to conduct the city's May 4th, 2024 election.
Jacobs, second.
We have a second. Do I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes?
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. 7B will be to discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number 0-2024-001, calling a general election for May 4th, 2024, to elect the following positions: Council Place 2, which is the east side, Council Place 4, which is the west side, and Mayor at Large to a 2-year terms each. Dr. Smith, I will read the ordinance. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas, calling the general election for the election of a mayor and 2 city council members to 2-year terms, each for May 4th, 2024, and establishing procedures for such general election.
There are 3 items that will be on the election, or 3 main items. One is the election of 2 council member places and mayors. That would be 7B. And then 7C is to renew our maintenance and repair of municipal streets, a portion of our sales tax. That's 7C. These will have to be approved one by one, and then I will talk more in detail about D, but that 7B is to call the election, and 7C is to renew the portion of the sales tax that goes to street maintenance, which we've been able to do a lot of good work with, so.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Any discussion or questions for staff, please? If none, I will move for a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number O-2024-001, calling a general election for May 4th, 2024, to elect the following positions: Council Place 2, Council Place 4, and Mayor for 2-year terms each.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes?
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. Moving to 7C, as Dr. Smith was discussing with us, we are going to discuss or take action to adopt ordinance number 02024-002, calling a special election for May 4th, 2024, for the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in Gun Barrel City at the rate of 1/4 of 1% to continue providing revenue for maintenance and repair of municipal streets. That ordinance is, again, 02024, and I will read that now. For the record, it is an ordinance of the City of Gun Barrel, Texas, ordering a special election for the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in Gun Barrel City at the rate of 1/4 of 1% to continue providing revenue for maintenance and repair of municipal streets, providing for the conduct of the election, providing for early voting, providing for polling places, providing for election judges, providing for notice of elections, providing for the method of voting, providing an effective date, and providing severability and open meetings clauses, and providing for related matters. Do I have a motion?
I move that we adopt ordinance number O-2024-002, calling a special election for May 4th for the reauthorization of the local sales and use tax in Gun Barrel City at the rate of 1/4 of 1% to continue providing revenue for maintenance and repair of municipal streets.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a vote from my left, please?
Burns, yes?
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. Now moving to 7D, which is discuss and undertake action to adopt ordinance number 0-2024-003, calling a special election for May 4th, 2024, for the purpose of amending the city charter. Again, Dr. Smith.
In summer of 2023, council appointed a charter review commission comprised of 10 Gun Barrel City residents to review and make recommended changes to the charter. This group then met every single Monday for 4 or 5 months and made a number of recommendations of changes to City Council at the December 2023 meeting. In January of 2024, Council held a joint workshop with this group and added additional recommended changes to be put in front of the residents of Gun Barrel City for a vote. There are a total of 13 recommendations. I will go through these recommendations tonight very briefly. You're welcome to contact us if you have any questions. Proposition number 1 will be, shall Section 3.02 be amended to allow city council members and the mayor to serve 3-year terms? Proposition number 2 will be 3.05. Shall that be amended to allow the mayor pro tem to retain the duties to vote on motions, but not have the power to veto legislation while temporarily acting as the mayor? You will hear me when they make their motion to ask this one item to be amended to say, retain the duties, not retain the rights. This is a typo on this form that they have in front of them. So we will ask for them to make a motion to amend, to approve it, but to amend this one item. Proposition number 3, shall Section 3.06 of the Charter be amended to require a special election on the first available uniform election date? Should a vacancy occur, we now have uniform election dates in May and November. This allows us to always have our elections on those days instead of have a special election. Proposition number 4, shall Section 309 be amended to allow, and it just clarifies who can call a special meeting, the mayor, the city manager, or 2 city council members. The way it currently reads, it takes a quorum of city council members to call a special meeting, then they've had a meeting to have a meeting, so, which is actually against the law. So this just amends it so that 2 can call a special meeting. Proposition number 5, just calls out that any ordinance passed by city council which imposes a penalty, a fine, or a forfeiture not only be published in the city's official newspaper, but also online. Since so many of our readership now goes online to look for these things. Proposition number 6 calls out for a change to Section 3.17, which currently says that city council can subpoena witnesses, and council would ask the public to vote on that to say summon witnesses instead of subpoena witnesses. Proposition number 7 would amend Section 4.01 of the Charter, which requires the city manager to reside in the city limits. It currently says within a reasonable time. Council and the Charter Review Commission are recommending, in accordance with the employment contract of the city manager, which cannot exceed 12 months from the day of the city manager's hire. Proposition number 8 is to amend Section 4.04, and it is subsection number 7. We currently have and have had for the last 20 years an associate judge, and our charter does not outline for that position. It does mention it in other places, but it does not outline for that position. This just simply adds that position of associate judge, who is our full-time on-staff judge, to the charter and outline the duties of such. Proposition 9 amends Section 5.02 to allow an elected official of the city to continue to serve in such elective office after filing for any other elective office called out in the charter. There is currently a lot of words in our charter that makes you do math about calendars, and this just clarifies that if a current member files for a different seat, they are allowed to sit in their seat until election time. Then the new person takes their seat, or they get re-sworn in for their seat. Proposition number 10, amended to require a city council member to have a 1-year gap between being a council member and serving on any city board, commission, and/or committee. Proposition number 11, this is getting us back in line with state law. It amends Section 9.02 to require the city's Planning and Zoning Commission to receive, review, and approve plating and subdivision proposals in accordance with state law. That is a recent state law change. Number 12 also is a state law change. Shall Section 9.04 of the Charter be amended to delete if you didn't approve a plat or respond to a plat within 30 days, it was considered automatically approved. and the plans regarding land use, development, and expenditures for capital improvements. They have since removed that in the last legislative session, so this will bring our charter back in line with state law again. And now it just says that that's not the case. And then amends section 10.02 of the charter be amended so as to allow for non-exclusive franchise services. That actually, we looked it up, Gilbert, that one is correct. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Our current charter, Gilbert mentioned us, we may have worded this wrong. Our current charter requires only for for exclusive. You can't have you cannot have an exclusive franchise. Your water is an exclusive franchise, and we can't do anything about that, right? They have all the infrastructure in the ground. Trash is much the same. So this, we confirm this is the correct wording, be amended so as to allow for non-exclusive for city services. So, but I will confirm that. Huh? Okay. So, we will need to, I've been back and forth, I sat up here and read it, but we will need to make sure that we also, as we do that, amend that one to allow for exclusive franchises. So, while I went through all of those, and you will see these many more times, we'll put together a presentation so everybody can be aware of what they are. What council is approving is not for these amendments to be made, but for these amendments to go to the voters. And they will vote on all of them. Staff recommends council approve these items with 2 changes. On proposition number 2, the mayor pro tem will retain the duties of the mayor, not the rights of the mayor. And on proposition number 13, allow for exclusive franchises for city services. And I am happy to answer any questions. Yes, I realize that was a lot. Thank you for being patient with me.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Any discussion or questions for staff?
I have, just for, again, that clarification, the performing of the duties was in the sentence prior to this, not in this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the rights that were, the word right in the proposition number 2 is correct. It was in the sentence before that it was supposed to have been changed. So it was really an added 2. So it says that 3.05, the last sentence says, the mayor pro tem shall temporarily act as mayor during the disability or absence of the mayor, and in this capacity shall, used to say have, the rights. Yeah. We want that changed to perform the duties conferred upon the mayor. And then you added in this last sentence, the mayor pro tem will retain the right to vote on each motion, but does not have the power to veto legislation while temporarily acting as mayor. So that's the adjustment that we want on number 2.
We will do, Mayor, Council, an education campaign as we start this process. That is a lot of information. And this language, while it is what will be on the ballot, does a horrible job of explaining what we are trying to accomplish. And I realize that. So we will do an education campaign, potentially some town halls. Maybe I can convince Brooke to do a video, and we'll go through all of these and make sure that our residents are educated about what we're asking them to vote on.
I would agree that's a lot of information. Any other further questions for staff?
I'd just like to thank the commission for all the hard work that they did and putting this all together. It was not an easy job. And I think that one might ask, why do we go through this every 4 years? And the reason we really do this is to try to learn from the past to do better in the future. If you can't do that, there's not much reason to have a charter. And so I think that's why we've done it. Again, I thank the commission and for your hard work, and it's now in the hands of the voters, and that's the way it should work.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion on ordinance number 0-2024-003?
I make the motion that we adopt ordinance number 0-2024-003 with the amendments that we have spoken about for calling a special election for May 4th, 2024 for the purpose of amending the city charter.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Vote from my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Yes.
Ross, yes.
Moving on to number 8 on our agenda items, unsafe structures, 8A. we are going to open a public hearing to discuss the unsafe structure located at 226 Soft Wind Street on Gun Barrel City, Texas. Dr. Smith, would you like to speak and open the hearing on this?
Janet, do we have any citizen requests to speak?
We'll close the public hearing at this time. We'll now move to 8B. Discuss and undertake action to determine whether the structure located at 226 Soft Wind Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, is considered unsafe.
For items 8B and 8C, our building and code enforcement team have been working very closely with the property owner. The site currently has no active water service or didn't as of their last visit, and we have had 16 code enforcement cases in the last 7 years. Currently, the residence has been deemed unsafe for occupation, and it would require an extensive remodel to bring it back up to code. There have also been a number of police calls to the property. Mike Ward, our code enforcement officer, has been working with the owner, and she is aware we are deeming this property an unsafe structure, and she had indicated that she plans on selling the property after it is cleared of all the old structures. Provided council finds the structure unsafe in this item based on the pictures provided in 8C, will order the demolition of the structure. As you know, we go through quite a process before we do this, and notifying and working with the homeowner. Next steps would include our team having the unsafe structure torn down. And then, as you know, we file a lien on the property for the cost of the removal of the structure. I'm happy to answer any questions. I have confirmed all of this with our building official, Shannon Wiggins, and our code enforcement officer, Mike Ward.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with Soft Wind Street. What area is that in? Or is it in a subdivision?
That is in Tamarack subdivision.
Thank you, April. I was about to have to Google it.
I'm assuming it's not currently occupied?
That is correct.
It is not currently occupied. It has been off and on, even though it was deemed unsafe, but it is not currently occupied.
Further questions for staff? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to determine, I'll make a motion to determine where the structure located at 226 South Wind Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, is considered unsafe.
Do I have a second?
Key second.
Vote for my left.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. We're now moving to 8C, part of this. Discuss and undertake action to adopt Order 226 Soft Wind Street, making findings of fact and ordering the demolition of structures located at 226 Soft Wind Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, that Dr. Smith just spoke about. Any other questions or discussion?
I move that we order the demolition of structures located at 226 Soft Wind Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Vote for my left, please.
Burns, yes.
Evans, yes.
Jacobs, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
Motion passes. 9A, we will now convene into executive session pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Section 551.072, deliberations about some real property. Let the record show that we are convening executive session at 7:53.
Oh, yeah.
Trailer you can move anything worth it. I work contracts, so I know the cost of it. Well, electricity ain't that bad.
They waited for us.
This one here. I'd like to reconvene. Let the record show that it is 8:38. I'd also like to read in the order of the last 8C item that we passed. It's order on 226 Southwind Street, an order making findings of fact, finding certain buildings and structures within the city limits to be dilapidated, substandard, and unfit for human habitation, and a hazard to the public health, safety, and welfare of the city's residents, ordering the buildings and structures to be abated and ordering the demolition thereof. And let the record show that we read that into the record. We just got back from our executive session. There was no action taken on the presentation that was given to us. Any discussion?
Move that we adjourn.
I move that we adjourn. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion?
Second?
Second, Keith?
Meeting is adjourned.
We did that earlier. He just didn't read the order, so he went back and read the order, just in record.